Efecto Cascada.
Un podcast de Explore.
Dear Explorers, welcome once again to Efecto Cascada. This is a podcast where we dive into the forefront of innovation, share insights from entrepreneurs, and uncover cascade funding opportunities. In each episode, we try to explore the latest trends into the digital stream, the arts, and latest technologies that are transforming our future. So, broadcasting from Pamplona, Spain, we're trying to reach a global audience, starting from European Union projects. So, welcome to a new online roundtable edition of Efecto Cascada. Today, we're diving into the blue heart of our planet, which is the oceans, the rivers, and any aquatic ecosystems that sustain life itself. We'll explore how participatory arts can activate communities, raise awareness, and inspire meaningful action for the mission restore our ocean and waters by 2030. Joining us are two inspiring partners from projects that are empowering artists to create change from shoreline to city streams. So there's Antonella Passani. She's partner and responsible of PARTART4OW and Water and senior researcher at T6 Ecosystems. A social scientist whose work spans participatory methodologies and digital social innovation. But then Sarah Tamulski, coordinator of TIDAL ArtS and project manager at SUBMARINER Network, where she oversees art-led ocean awareness initiatives and governance projects across Europe. So grab your headphones, tune in, and it's time to explore the creative current transforming how we connect our water ecosystems. Welcome, Antonella and Sarah. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Good, thank you.
It's great to have you here. Thank you very much for coming to Efecto Cascada. Okay, so let's get to know you. Antonella, could you introduce yourself a bit to the audience and maybe share a bit about how your background led you to projects like PARTART4OW?
Yeah, sure, Paula. Thanks for inviting me in PARTART4OW and Water as a project. It's a pleasure to be here. So as you said, I'm a social scientist. I'm a sociologist with a minor in cultural anthropology. So my initial research was totally on something different, let's say. But then I entered the European Commission funds, let's say, working first on more anthropological things like social inclusion of migrant children or second generation kids, and then move a little bit. And so I entered the ICT world, so the technology and how technology could change the life of everybody, and from there to other topics in which normally I try to translate very technical, very scientific things into things that matter to people, or to help this kind of dialogue between scientists and non-scientists, non-experts. And so from co-design to impact assessment, communication, policy, etc. And now how I arrive in PARTART4OW and Water actually is from citizen science, because in the last year I've been working a lot on citizen science, so how citizens can help the scientific process. And art was another project in our other projects, and so at the end it was kind of a nice marriage to put together citizens, science, and art. And the water was an old passion of mine. I was supposed to work to be a marine biologist when I was a kid. Then I chose anthropology. I chose humans against whales, but now I'm back, let's say.
How about you, Sarah? How are you? Could you share a bit about yourself also, and what led you onto leading TIDAL ArtS?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, Antonella, it's so fun to hear your story and where you come from too. I also have a similar, I guess you could say, winding CV, someone who also dreamed of oceans and being a dolphin trainer before it was bad as a kid. So but I also come from a social science background and politics. So I had a master's in public policy and studied economics as well. My first step into the career world was in development work and also integration and social inclusion work. So I was doing projects, women's projects in the Middle East, and then also projects with refugees and migrants here in Germany. Then, yeah, about 3 years now ago, I joined SUBMARINER Network. So I made the jump also to kind of the environment and the ocean. So from people to the ocean, but at the end of the day, you kind of realize that it's all one, like different subject matter, but same themes, and that we are kind of one big world, the environment and people together. So yeah, the SUBMARINER Network, I mean, we're a network in the Baltic Sea region, focusing on the sustainable development of the blue economy, but also the conservation of the Baltic Sea. And TIDAL ArtS goes beyond the Baltic Sea, but it's really about being interdisciplinary. And I think that's why I have become the project manager of this project too. I think I'm a connector of ideas and of people, and my interdisciplinary background, I bring that in. And through TIDAL ArtS, we're really looking to connect science and arts, but also communities.
All right, so let's now dive into each project so that the audience can grab all insights from each one. So starting with their goals and what makes them unique. So Antonella, could you please walk us through a bit what PARTART4OW is about? Like, how can arts, initiatives help restore marine ecosystems?
Yeah, I mean, both our projects answer to the same European Commission calls. So let's say the ultimate goal is the same, but we have picked a little bit different approaches, and I think the two projects are quite nicely complementary, I will say. So PARTART4OW and water, the main goal is to increase European citizens' ocean literacy. So to really support citizens to develop their bondage, their attention, their sense of care for the ocean and water. Exactly as we were saying, we are one word, but really the interdependencies between human being and ocean and water is a crucial one. So this is the ultimate goal. And how do we do that? Is by having cascading calls. Cascading calls that promote participatory art initiatives. That means for us really interdisciplinary projects in which science, art, and citizen engagement goes hand in hand in a power relationship that is equal. So the ideal project that we will finance, we will see these three elements going together and be really transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary, in the sense that we don't want the art to be the sort of beautifying of science, or citizens to be called just for providing data or for being spectator of an art exhibition. I mean, I'm not saying that these are not useful things. I'm not saying that these are not things that can help ocean literacy, but the challenge we pose ourselves is to go a little bit behind and have this support this mixing. Then the project that will be financed will go an accelerator process of 6 months in which they will develop the project, and we will offer training and mentoring and networking opportunity, of course. And at the final event, also the demo day for them to stage, let's say, the project results. Besides this, we have research on stakeholder engagement and stakeholder mapping. Now we are launching a survey to understand what are the challenges in having this collaboration going on between art and science and ocean and citizen engagement. And then we will have a real boat floating the Mediterranean and trying to connect all the projects that have been financed and other actors that are working on the same tool, on the same field, and spread the word or maximize the impact of the project, also using the sea as a platform for connecting them physically.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to finish the project and connect all together. All right, Sarah, and what's for you the core vision behind TIDAL ArtS? And how does it empower artists to strengthen, people's connection to the local aquatic environments?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like Antonella said, we are sister projects, so we have similar aims. So our vision is really to also inspire citizens across Europe to see themselves as a part of their aquatic environment in a new way, and also to experience oceans and inland waterways in a new way. I think we also take the idea of citizen and maybe expand it, so that we're not only trying to, inspire youth or, even fishermen, but it can also be to inspire scientists to think about their subject matter in a different way, or inspire even artists to look at things in a different way. So like Antonella was saying in their project, for us, it's really about creating a dialogue between these communities in the environment, so that the artist isn't just the communicator of the scientific work to the public, but that the artist maybe comes at a problem or comes at the challenge in the marine environment with a new lens and looks at it in an innovative way. And the scientist provides their input or their data to the issue, and then the community says, well, hey, we are actually experiencing this issue in a different way. And so that these voices then come together and inform the artworks that are created within the project. But yeah, so TIDAL ArtS, it's going to be going for 3 years, and really the core of it is this funding for artists. And our calls are specifically for artists or creative practitioners and collectives. So we are funding the creatives to then go out and work with these other actors and kind of respond to the challenges within communities across Europe. So whether that be pollution or biodiversity loss, or maybe challenges with the blue economy, challenges with a port, or something that a community is experiencing. So yeah, we empower the artists to do that and then to enter the communities and make these connections.
And as you were saying, let's talk about the people making it happen, which are the artists, communities, and collaborators. So for you, Antonella, what kind of, you were saying, interdisciplinary collaborations does the project support doing this accelerator?
Yeah, let's say that ideally we would like to see marine scientists or water-related subject scientists with artists, with communities that could be directly engaged or engaged in through association, NGOs, grassroots organization, etc. So besides interdisciplinary, for us it's also important intersectorality. So not only academics, not only also artists, but also the third sector or the productive sector, the private sector, could be anything. But the idea is to really cross all the boundaries and tackle a problem that makes sense for the local community. So ideally, the project should come from a need, from something that makes sense or have an impact on a local community. So this is exactly what you mean when you say responsible research. So responsible research is not that the research quest is not driven by the curiosity of the scientists only, but it's really co-created with the stakeholders at local level. So this is a little bit our idea, and in this moment we are doing the review of the proposals we received. So, it's very nice to see that this, let's say, input can take a lot of different shapes, a lot of different geometries in different contexts. And this is really, really inspiring also, because when you say marine science, it's huge, can be a lot of different things. And I'll say the same with art, because we welcome any kind of artistic creative expression. So you can have music, you can have literature, you can have theater, you can have video games, everything. So it's really nice to see how much you can have by just putting a little bit three things together. Behind them there are 3 different words, I would say.
Do you think you could have any kind of example to represent for the audience to understand how these projects could be developed?
For me, it's a bit early. I don't want to spoil what's going to happen. But let's say that there are other fields. We are not the first 2 projects working on art and ocean. So there have been many, at least some financed by the Commission before us, and you really can see how artists and scientists can work together in making sense of an issue, because also sometimes arts and creativity is looked at something that is more coming after science, let's say, but actually is a way of doing science, can be seen as a way of increasing knowledge by looking, as Sarah was saying, into things in a different way, but also have different methodologies to approaching a problem, and the work together of artists and scientists can be really enriching for both sides in learning other way of approaching topics and how approach challenges and how to discover things, even if they have two methodologies that are very different.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, maybe just to build on that, it's a bit of, like you asked for examples, I think it's a bit of challenging for us too, because our methods of both projects have really to be open-minded. And like you said, like we don't define the art, we don't define the kind of art, we don't define exactly what you needed to do, because we're really trying to let people think out of the box and be innovative and come up with ideas and things that we might never have come up with. But there's really a lot of cool stuff out there. I mean, we have one member in our consortium also who is an artist and a designer who uses seaweed as a practice and a method, and also brings communities in to get to know seaweed and to experience seaweed in a different way. So she has gone from, started with a species basically, and then like opened up new worlds and communities to this new world through the species, and also created incredible installations. We have musical examples too, where people have used orchestra and brought communities into the underwater world. So there's, but I think the breadth is huge, and it's exciting to see what comes out. I think Antonella's calls have just closed, but like you mentioned, we have our Lighthouse calls open right now through June 14th. And this is kind of exactly what we're looking for, people to be innovative and connect communities and us to the ocean in new ways.
I'm quite interested into how, because TIDAL ArtS is structured across 4 regional hubs, and there's a geographical approach here. Could you walk us through how does this work?
Yeah, so the approach really is mirroring the EU's mission, Ocean Restore Our Waters, Restore Our Ocean and Waters by 2030. They set up 4 lighthouse regions, so they are the Baltic Sea, North Sea, the Atlantic, Arctic oceans, the Mediterranean Sea, and then the Danube, Black Sea basins. And the idea is that Europe is split up into these water basins where all the rivers then also flow into these oceans and seas, so then making up our one blue Europe, so to say. And so we took this structure for our project, and are financing 6 projects in each region. So the idea was really that we would also bring kind of this very Brussels EU language of mission ocean to communities, and kind of transfer what this mission and vision could be on a local scale, so through art. So that's why we took that approach, but I think it's kind of really remains to be seen if there will be different regional identities between them or not, because at the end of the day we talk about things like pollution, free waters, or restoring biodiversity in our seas, or having a sustainable blue economy, and I think these are pretty universal themes, and we're not restricting the themes per region, so artists can apply with any theme in any of the regions. But I think it's kind of too early to tell, but it will be interesting to see if we can also create or if some kind of identities come through the projects for the specific regions, maybe also ones that we weren't expecting.
How does each project support artists, let's say, beyond funding? Because each one of them has either residencies or accelerators, mentorship.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just to follow up for us, like on the call that's open now, which is the Lighthouse calls, the grants it's for 15,000 euro grants, and then we're going to be opening a residency call for 50,000 euro grants in the fall. So with the Lighthouse calls, the program is really a mentorship program, like a series of workshops, so where we will talk about where kind of the pressures of the different ecosystems will be introduced, and then there will also be workshops on connecting to the communities, connecting with science, and we will provide kind of matchmaking service also for the artists if they're looking to connect with specific scientists in their region or other actors in their region who they haven't yet connected with. And then in our residency program, which is really where 4 artists will be at art institutes in the different regions of Europe, that's an all-encompassing program on the ground where there are workshops with community actors, where they interact with scientists on the ground, and they then have a residency host who also guides them through the process, which is a year long.
Yeah, we will have this accelerator process. That means that we will start in September with the boot camp. So the idea is to give training for all of the project together on topics that for us are crucial. For example, social inclusion, ethics, open science. So things that besides the specific topic of the project can help in increasing, making them more impactful. Also policy dialogue and how they can have a policy impact, etc. All these things. And then each of the project will have additional training on topics that make sense for them. For everybody, they will be training on communication, dissemination, also technical on filmmaking, for example. And then each project will have a mentor, and they will be accompanied through this 6 months process in this way.
Yeah, for us, so it is a requirement for the artists that they create the piece and then show it within the project period. So each artist will be expected to have like an exhibition or a public showing or whatever kind of suits their piece. So we're going to fund 24 projects, so we should have at the end of the day 24 exhibitions across Europe. And then similarly, we have a final event festival at the end where we will showcase probably a couple of projects, but we run into similar issues like bringing 24 projects together is probably not very realistic, but I think there's other ways to do it. Once you get these creative ideas to showcase them online, to bring the artists into different forums, to present their work, to share the solutions they've created with the scientists. So I think once they have completed their projects, then it's also really about giving them a platform at different events, at EU events. It kind of depends on the topic, but showcasing their work with kind of the reach that we have as a project, and then with the hopes that maybe gets picked up in other places too. And I mean, part of TIDAL ArtS is my organization is more from the science background, but we also have partners who are really from the arts and culture world, so that they are also connected to these kinds of institutions who are looking for artists and looking for innovative ideas and approaches. So our hope is too that if they come up with some amazing projects, that we can then tap into these networks and they can be showcased in different places.
All right, so before we say goodbye, we have a tradition here in the podcast. There's this little game. So we have some time for a few fun questions because we'd like to get to know you better. So first, this is how it's going to work. I'll be raising a question from the previous guest, and then you'll be the ones having the ball on your hands, and you'll be, giving a piece of advice, a fun fact either about yourselves or something that happened today or that you saw. And you'll be asking a question to pass on to the next guest. So I don't know how you'd like to split it, but either of you can answer or you can choose one, however you will decide.
Go. What's the question?
All right, so I actually have 2 questions, so we can do one for each. I don't care which one. So last guests are working on this European Union project called Game ER. So there's, first off, there's Martin Leinak, and he wanted to ask you, what was the first creative project that you got paid for?
I can take this. This was nice. Was a project it sounds like ages ago, was a project of media education for migrant children. So the idea was, I was a young anthropologist, very young, giving cameras, because at that time you didn't have by phones, so you have to actually give physical big cameras to kids, to teenagers, teach them how to use a camera, and then see what they come up. And through their visual creation, try to understand how their identity formation process was going on in being in a foreign country. And I want to share because it's actually, I mean, 20 years passed, but it sounds like ages ago. So I'm curious to see where we will be in 20 years.
Definitely.
All these technologies are just in our pockets.
Oh, that's impressive, honestly. 20 years ago, that you were already showing these migrants how to use a camera. Beautiful. How about you, Sarah?
Counts, but I'm just gonna go for it. I first earned money with a creative project, I guess, when I was in 3rd grade, so 8 years old. I wasn't the most artistic kid. I was rather sporty, or known for being sporty, but my teacher, her name was Miss Erickson, she gave us the task that we each had to create a sculpture out of recycled materials. And then they were going to submit it to the city. There was like a citywide competition, and then they would show some in an exhibition. And I created an alligator, and I ended up winning 1st prize in the city competition and got $100. I'm originally from the US, which was pretty amazing for an 8-year-old. I think I bought a skateboard. But yeah, so maybe that's my full circle moment back to arts and the ocean is my 3rd grade alligator. So
that's the cutest story. I mean, it also involves sustainability and art, so it's perfect for this podcast. And then we have this Anastasia Barako. By the way, it reminded me, your story reminded me to another project, like similar one I had to do back in school. There was this, we had to recycle, let's say, the milk containers, milk cartons, and I made myself a Volkswagen van, like a hippie one as well. So it was pretty fun to do that. All right, but then we have this other question from Anastasia Barakova. She's also working in game ER. And this one, it's a bit more challenging. So what has been the biggest project you were afraid of doing, but you did it anyway?
I can go. It was a little bit embarrassed. It's a little bit embarrassing indeed. As I said at the beginning, my work travel was across different sectors, and my first project, big project, was a very big project, was about new technology, developing new languages, programming languages, was super techy. And my training on new technologies was zero, practically. So most of the time I was really trying to make sense of what they were saying, and I was like 24, 25, and the whole consortium was all male. It was not girl at all. Only one secretary, maybe, some administrative, but for all this 7 year of project, I was the youngest and the only female most of the time, and the only not tech person. So it was tough. But I think it was really one of the projects that taught me most in terms of interdisciplinary, but also how to work in across different nationalities, different languages, and the age and the gender boundaries that I was not fully even aware of maybe at that time, but it was part of the challenge, I would say.
Could you, each one of you, share with our audience, one piece of advice, a fun fact, and a question?
Okay, advice, very, very quick. Reach out to people. Reach out to people that know nothing about what you are working on or study on. Really make an effort to bridge and go.
Mm-hmm.
And then a question for the next one. I will ask what is their favorite water-related places, so the spot on the sea or in the river and the like that make them feel at home or that have good memories of.
My piece of advice is to not be scared to chart and follow your own path. So even if it maybe doesn't make sense to the outside world, or you're not sure where your path is going, if it feels right, just go for it. And the story will come along with you. Yeah, I think if you can learn to live in this uncomfortable position between knowing exactly where you're going and where you're coming from, then you're pretty much gold. But that's hard. I'm working on that too.
Yeah.
And my question was a different angle, but maybe towards the question you asked Antonella, I was wanted to ask the next guest was, what is the most unexpected twist that their career has taken?
All right, and what about the fun fact? Do you have any?
Sarah, you go first now.
I mean, I guess you could say, my fun fact right now is I'm at the German Baltic Sea right now, and I'm actually a big fan of birds and bird watching. So I'm going to go out and go to the beach later and see what birds are there. But I've been seeing the common terns over the last days, and they make huge migrations. So I'm always excited when they come back to the Baltic Sea every summer. So that's my fun fact. I think Arctic terns make the biggest migration out of any bird.
How about you, Antonella?
That I never, how do you say when you do I never sneaks once. I always have at least 3 and sometimes 5 or 6 or 7 or 10. So this and the noise I make is quite like a cartoon. So this is fun because when I have a cold, everybody is laughing, and I make people happy with my.
All right. Thank you very much, Antonella and Sarah. It was a complete pleasure to have both of you here in the podcast, as well as the projects. Please, explorers, make sure to follow the projects on social media so you won't miss anything, and just keep updated on each move they make. And who knows, you might be the next water innovator, the one raising awareness among our communities. But this brings us to the end of this very special episode. We've been very honored to have these incredible leaders showing us how can we make this environmental transformation. So yeah, there's a role in each one of us in restoring our waters. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel or the podcast in your favorite streaming platform, because remember, we are available in Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and YouTube, because this is a video podcast. But stay updated so you won't miss any other Cascade funding open calls. But until next time, explorers, let's keep innovating together. See you.
See you. Bye. Thank you.